Re-signings, cuts, free agency, a full mock draft, and a trade for a big-time offensive weapon. Let's make the New York Jets a playoff team, and let's do it right now.
Hold up.
First thing we need to do is create some salary cap space. The Jets have next to none. Dwayne Brown is going to retire. We appreciate you, sir. His contract will come off of our books. Braden Mann obviously needs to be replaced. There's an easy cut there. Now, a couple of guys that may be kind of controversial. I'm going to cut Corey Davis and Jordan Whitehead in this version, saving a combined $18 million against the cap. If you like Corey Davis, if you like Jordan Whitehead, just wait. You're going to love their replacements. Can't be afraid to get better in a mock off season. We're going to restructure the contracts of CJ Mosley, Laken Tomlinson, and JFM. We're going to keep them here, but do some cap gymnastics to make their contracts more team-friendly. And then Braxton Berrios is going to stay, an extension for a cheaper cap hit as well. This is a guy who's been a cap casualty, the first and second version of this. This one, we're going to extend Carl Lawson, keep him here for about 2 more seasons, and bring his cap number way down. Carl Lawson, pretty good last year, not quite a $15 million player. That's why we're going to move some numbers around. But also, I think there's some more tread left on these tires of the player who will be 28 years old when the season starts. And that second year back from an Achilles injury, that's when players usually regain their former selves. Carl Lawson will stay a Jet. Quinn Williams, we're going to extend him to save money. Yes, this year, an extension will probably drop his 2023 cap hit because you can give a bonus, so his cap hit is lower than his 5th-year option, and then obviously he will be on the books for a big number in 2024 and beyond. Bryce Huff, got to take care of him. Spoiler alert, Bryce Huff will be extended in every single mock-off season. I've never seen a right tackle block him consistently. Let's make Bryce Huff a Jet for the next few years before the rest of the league figures out how good he is. That gives us $56 million of cap space to work with. Now, let's re-sign some of our own guys. Sheldon Rankins, 2 years, $13 million. I think Rankins has been one of the unsung heroes of the pass rush for the Jets last year. That is well worth your squeeze, $7 million a year for Sheldon. Quincy Williams, we're going to keep him a Jet too. 3 years, $18 million. He's not a perfect player. I understand he's never going to be great in coverage, but he brings a lot of thump and some big-time playmaking to this Jets defense. We're going to sign a bunch of guys for depth and special teams as well, anywhere from $2 to $4 million. Mike White, Quan Alexander, Greg Zerloin, Thomas Morstead, we're going to bring in as a punter. Nate Herbig, Dan Feeney, Ty Johnson, and Nathan Shepard stay in reserve roles. We're going to let walk Connor McGovern, George Fant, and LaMarcus Joyner. That leaves us $44 million left to spend to go poach some free agents for other teams. We have a big trade in the works soon, but first, let's take care of our quarterback position. Now, we've signed Derek Carr in the first one. In the second one, we traded for Aaron Rodgers. So just to experiment, in this one, let's go with my plan C and see what the roster looks like with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, the cons are he's been injury prone. The pros are he's a bona fide free agent like Carr, but he's probably cheaper. We're going to give Jimmy G a 2-year, $52 million deal. Reportedly, he's looking at about $25 million per year, but it's going to be a cap hit of just $15 million in 2023. Woody Johnson's going to write him a nice signing bonus in that first year. Now we're going to get a new quarterback, and hey, how about a new wide receiver? The Bengals got to pay Joe Burrow. The Bengals are going to pay Jamar Chase pretty soon. They've never been a team to pay big money and stuff away that fat check in escrow. Is T. Higgins going to be in the works for them? We're going to trade for him. T. Higgins is a 6'4", 220-pound contested catch jump ball, 50-50 ball machine. 1,000-yard season in the last 2 campaigns. What's the trade compensation for him? Well, the closest thing I could think of from last year was A.J. Brown, who got traded for a 3rd-rounder and a pick swap. Geez, what a steal. We're going to give the Cincinnati Bengals a 3rd-rounder in 2023, as long as a 2nd and 5th-rounder in 2024. Way more than the Tennessee Titans fetched for A.J. Brown. He is going to also need an extension, 4-year, $90 million for Higgins, and an $8 million cap hit in his first year in green and white. We now have $22 million to build out the roster, in addition to our new quarterback and our new toy for our quarterback in T. Higgins. Jesse Bates is the first place I'm looking. True free safety who can play the deep middle, durable, young, home run in the locker room, Robert Saleh and JD kind of guy. Pricey, 4 years, $52 million. Year 1, he's going to have a cap hit of $9 million. Looking at the offensive line, Jawan Taylor, 6'6", 325-pound, 25 years old, has played 4 seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off of a career best year. His 2.5% pressure rate was the 3rd lowest allowed across the NFL in qualifying tackles last season. We're going to give him a 3-year, $28 million deal with a cap hit of $6.5 million in year 1. We're down to just $7 million. We're going to sign a couple of cheap veterans before we get into the draft. And before we do that, I'll remind you that myself and Joe Blewett have our shared Patreon. You can support us by clicking the link and signing up in the description below. You enter to win some giveaways, and you get an exclusive weekly podcast from Joe and myself. And if you got better things to spend your money on, a thumbs up is an easy way to support the show. We appreciate it. Now, I'm looking at defensive tackle, kind of an underrated need, some depth there. We can't really commit any more money. We signed Quinn in the big contract, and we have $7 million left to spend. I'm looking at Chris Wormley, defensive tackle, 6'5", 300 pounds, balance, plays the run and pass pretty well. 7 sacks in 2022, but only 1 sack in a down year in 2023. Analytics, he was pretty similar. So I think he might want to take a 1-year prove-it deal, rack up that sack number, and then hit the market again. The 26-year-old is going to sign a 1-year, $5.5 million deal, counting $4 million against the cap in his first year. The final chunk of change we're going to etch out is for wide receiver Marvin Jones Jr., projected to command about $3 million a year, 32 years old, flashed wide receiver 1 potential in his prime. He's not that same guy anymore, but he does have a 1,000-yard season under his belt. Last year, 500-yard season as he moved into a reserve role in the back half of the year with the Jaguars. He's a veteran. We add him to the room. We like Marvin Jones. All right, let's draft some playmakers, shall we? NFL draft. Pick 13 is ours, and we are going to trade this pick. Our trade partner I'm looking at is the Chargers at pick 21. The goal here is to recoup a second-round pick. All right, the Chargers are picking at 53, but we would need to include something else. Right? It's not quite equivalent. How about this? The Chargers get pick 13 and wide receiver Denzel Mims. The Jets get pick 21 and 53. The Jets are now picking at 21. The pick is in, and it is Brian Branch, safety, Alabama. Top safety in the class, projected to be a mid to late first round pick, 6 foot tall, 195 pounds. Hey, same height and weight as me. The difference is he's a world-class athlete. 4.4 speed, Swiss Army knife on the back end, the perfect complement to Jesse Bates and the Jets' elite cornerback room. Damn, if Brian Branch is who we think he is day one, the Jets just may have the best secondary in the NFL. Second round pick. This is our pick, 44. We're going to trade. We're going to take our 5th round pick, just like we did last year with Brees, sneak up a couple spots. I still may be dreaming here. John Michael Schmitz, center, Minnesota. Best center in the class, plug and play. Centers always fall. You always think of these guys like Creed Humphrey, a late first round talent, and centers continually year in and year out fall further than you'd think. John Michael Schmitz replaces Connor McGovern. We finally have our franchise center we've been looking for since we moved on from Nick Mangold, Kevin Mawai. Our second round pick, this is the one from the Chargers, pick 53. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle, Tennessee. Not as polished as some of the first round guys, but the 5-star recruit has all the traits. 6'6", 340 pounds, moves like a man, much smaller, and he is nasty. Jets double up on offensive line in round 2. Our 3rd round pick is gone. That was part of the T. Higgins package. Worth it. 4th round, we have 2 more picks to go. 4th round, pick is in. Owen Pappoe, linebacker, Auburn, 6'1", 225, and runs had to triple check this, 4.32 40. We thought Quincy Williams was fast. My goodness. Perfect build and speed that Robert Saleh loves in that linebacker playing next to C.J. Mosley. Now, he's a much better athlete than a football player, right? Obviously, he's projected as a mid-round pick at 4.3 speed because his tape and his production don't quite match the athleticism yet, but we take a flyer on a freak athlete in the 4th round. Our final pick, 5th round, it's in. Moro Ojomo. He goes into the name Hall of Fame immediately. Defensive lineman, Texas, 6'3", 295. He's a tweener, right? Not really a DT, not really an edge. But I think Vinny Curry retires and he could step in as a depth guy who can do some inside and outside. Now let's look at our depth chart and see how our team is stacking up. This isn't going to be a full 53-man roster. I'm not going to have like the 4th and 5th stringer at every position, but generally, here's what we're looking at. Quarterback, we have Jimmy G as the starter. We re-signed Mike White to be a backup because Jimmy G, there's some injury history there, and Zach Wilson is still developing on the roster. Left tackle, let's be optimistic and say Mekhi Becton wins that job and Darnell Wright is the backup. At guards, we have Lakin and AVT still at guard with Nate Herbig as our backup swing guard. New center, rookie John Michael Smits. Dan Feeney is back as the backup center. Right tackle, Juwan Taylor, we paid pretty big money to come in and be the starter. The second round rookie Wright is the backup swing tackle, so he backs up right tackle along with Max Mitchell in there as well. At wide receiver, we have Garrett Wilson and T. Higgins, 2 number ones. Elijah Moore is in the slot. We signed Marvin Jones Jr. to be our 4, and we extended Braxton Berrios to be our depth receiver / special teamer. Tight end, didn't have to do anything. Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama should be unlocked with better quarterback, offensive line, and offensive coordinating, if that's a word. And Jeremy Ruckert is in there. Could there be some fullback hybrid stuff with Ruckert with our new offensive staff who ran a lot of 21 and 12 personnel in Tennessee? That's something to keep an eye on. The running back room, obviously, when Breece Hall is back, he is running back number 1, but I still have 5 names listed here because Breece Hall might start on the PUP. So I think to start the season, you're going to want Michael Carter, Bam Knight, Ty Johnson, or resigned him, and Brian Robinson. And then once Hall comes back, maybe you stash one of those other guys in the practice squad and trim the room down to 4. Flipping over to the defensive side of the football. At defensive and right end, Carl Lawson and Michael Clemens, same tandem as last year with the second-year player spelling Carl Lawson, who just got the extension. On the other side, JFM, JJ, and Huff. Nasty. How about a little bit more work for JJ and Huff and maybe some of JFM inside to get some more reps, those 2 young players. At defensive tackle, Quinnen and Sheldon Rankins are back. Wormley and Shepard are in reserve roles. At linebacker, CJ Mosley is the Mike. He's still backed up by Jamie and Sherwood. Outside linebacker, Quincy and Quan are back with our rookie 4th-round pick, Popo, in there as well. We have a new safety tandem, the big free agent Bates, along with the 1st-round pick Branch, backed up by Ashton Davis and Tony Adams. Our kicker is still Greg Zerloin. We brought back Thomas Morstead because we probably should have never let him go. And our kick returner and punt returner is still Braxton Berrios. If you made it to the end of this one and you like this sort of roster building stuff, you can check down my most recent version of this down below. Compare which one you like better. But if you made it all the way to 12 minutes, you're probably one of those psychos who subscribe to me and watches me all the time. So thank you for the support. You guys are awesome. Channel turned 1 year old today. Never thought it would grow like this. Go Jets. Happy to be a part of it.